What leverage do we have?
Tide is starting to turn. The tide is starting to turn because people are fed up with the idea of a bunch of rich people getting tax cuts off of Medicaid and Social Security money.
Where the discussion got loud quite quickly.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
The Oshkosh event was so crowded, not everyone could get inside. Congressman Grothman spoke to federal spending, immigration, welfare, and the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, led by Elon Musk. He also opened the floor to his constituents.
It is not creating any more money in our government.
I think as you reduce taxes, it incentivizes more people to work.
Town halls, here comes the drama. Here comes the poll numbers of the president's poll numbers plunging.
Rising in the White House, and a man has declared himself our king. So I would like to know, rather, the people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
And what will follow is probably a bunch of protest activity out in the streets, which is already starting to get going. That is what is going to turn the tide, if anything, in this situation before the 630 days in which the Democrats get a shot at the midterms to try to, basically block some of the president's agenda. Although you can see what he's trying to do is rule by executive authority. So then, I can just ignore the Congress, right? So that's really what the goal is. At any rate, what would probably happen in the interim in 630 days is he'll probably lose a lot of court cases, but the damage by that time might be done. And the question is, can that damage be undone in 4 years if you get a Democratic president? And you can see all these little dumb, cute references by Donald Trump about, I might run again, and I might just run again. He's 78 years old. Nobody lives forever, so I don't know where he's getting that from. He's basically trying to act as if he's just going to stay there and be around forever and run again and again and again willy-nilly just because he feels like it. But from a communication standpoint, the Democrats are still underwater. You're not seeing a leader. You're not seeing anybody who is sort of the spokesperson, attack dog for the Democratic Party. And I'm shocked. I was shocked when they first got into office on the first week of January and then really had no core united message. I got re-shocked on January 20 when they had no core united message. And I got shocked again when the Medicaid portals got turned off and the Democratic Party had no answer to it. Remember, they walk into office, they really walk into the moment of Jan 20 when Trump is being inaugurated with no plan. Chuck Schumer was confirming nominees like nothing new to see here. Now they're finally running out the clock and going, around the clock, which is what they should have been doing from day one with every single nominee of Trump's. And suddenly now they're finally waking up that, that's right, we're the opposition party. I totally forgot. I mean, it is unbelievable, the lack of leadership. There's nobody in the lead. There's nobody at the steering wheel. And they should have known that. They knew that the minute that Vice President Harris lost. So you knew that back the first week of November, that you had to get your game on. And then they come in here and there's nothing.
Trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? Republicans have repeatedly lectured America. They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
I started playing chess when I was 7 or 8 years old. My older relatives, related to my grandmother mostly, got really good at chess to the point where I was in a chess league and on Long Island, like a chess, we were in chess tournament in high school and stuff like that. And the two lessons of chess are that you have to predict and figure out 4 or 5 moves ahead what your opponent is going to do. In this political case, everybody knew what the Democrats' opponent was going to do. You had Project 2025 in front of you. You have somebody, Donald Trump, that you'd seen before. He'd already told you what he was going to do. We saw videos of Russ Vought that everybody saw before, that everybody knew about. There was nothing to predict because they were saying what they were going to do and then they did it. The other thing about chess that everybody understands is you got to position your pieces correctly. And if you position your pieces correctly, you're halfway to victory. But the Democrats keep making the mistake of not positioning their pieces correctly. In fact, if I didn't know any better, I'd almost think that somebody was sitting down and saying, let's make sure that we don't have the right people in the right positions, because it is incredible to me that you could say to somebody like Jasmine Crockett and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, those two members of Congress in particular, who are ready for the fight, who are fighting on the level that they should be fighting on, with the amount of vim and vigor and directness and energy that you would think that the Democratic Party would want. And the first thing that they do when they start picking leadership in the Democratic Party in Congress is taking those players off the field. And again, if you can come up with special positions for Jim Clyburn, you can come up with special positions for AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Max Frost and 5 or 6 others, actually. Their pieces are not in the right position. And if Debbie Dingell and some of these other people can bring it, then where are they? Are they bringing it? I'm not seeing it. And so I am amazed at what we're seeing in terms of the lack of leadership. I do this and say this with a great deal of reluctance because I worked on Capitol Hill. I worked on the Senate side and I worked on the House side. I've been a communications director. I've been a low-level staffer. I've been a few things and seen a lot of stuff on Capitol Hill. And what we're seeing now is a failure in leadership. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I think it might be fear-based, which, by the way, would be perfectly understandable. So I don't want to get too far into criticizing everybody because it's harder than it looks. And it's certainly harder when you're the person who has to do it. It's easy to sit around and criticize people when you're on the outside of something. And a lot of people do that and make a lot of money off that, actually. But I will say it's getting to a point of real surprise here in terms of it not turning around and them not finding their footing, the Democrats in Congress finding their footing. A little bit scary almost, given what's at stake. This is Lauren Burke, and I'll be back soon.